Are we about to enter the next crypto bull run? October is historically a really strong month for crypto. And we're currently in the stage of the 4-year cycle where crypto tends to historically shift into overdrive and start climbing in price. So far, it's done this with 100% accuracy since the birth of crypto. But will it do it again? And if it does do it again, how high can we expect prices to potentially go? Are we about to enter crypto's banana zone? Keep in mind, this is just my personal thoughts about the market. None of this is investment advice, and you should always do your own research. October traditionally is one of the best performing months in crypto. You can see in 2013, Bitcoin went up 60%. In 2017, it went up 47%. And in 2021, it went up 39.9%. Each of these different years I just referenced is during the crypto summer phase of the 4-year cycle. A quick refresher, if you aren't familiar, every 4 years, the crypto markets have repeated basically the exact same pattern since the birth of crypto. First, you have crypto winter, prices are depressed, everyone hates crypto and says it's dead. Then you have crypto spring, prices start climbing, they're recovering from crypto winter, but most people aren't paying attention at this point. Then you have crypto summer, prices go parabolic, it's pure insanity, everyone's and their mom is excited to invest in crypto, and the markets are just going bananas. Then you have crypto fall, this is when the Ponzi's and all kinds of nonsense start skyrocketing in price. The market completely disconnects from all fundamentals, and everyone says that we're going up only forever. And of course, finally, this rolls back into crypto winter, where prices once again collapse due to all the leverage that builds up in the system during crypto summer and crypto fall. Obviously, when people believe it's going to continue to go up only, they're making a lot of money. A lot of leverage enters the system that pushes up prices too high, and then this inevitably leads to the collapse that is crypto winter. And according to the 4-year cycle, right now, we would be in the late stages of crypto spring. And starting in 2025, we'd enter that crypto summer period where prices go parabolic and the entire market goes bananas. You can see on the chart that in 2016, the price of Bitcoin went up 14% in October. And in 2020, it went up 27% in October. These would be during the final stages of crypto spring during the 4-year cycle. So that would be more in line with where we are currently in the 4-year cycle, and maybe more of a hint of what we could potentially experience this October. Now, obviously, if you look at this chart, you can see there are some years where the month of October actually didn't do very well, specifically 2014 and 2018. And it's important to highlight that both of these years are during the crypto winter phase of the 4-year cycle. It would make sense that the year after prices go parabolic and all this leverage enters the system, that we could see weakness in October as prices are recovering from those inflated highs. Outside of that, though, it's clear that October is an insanely strong month for crypto. On average, we see prices go up 22.9% during the month of October. And if the previous crypto spring years are any hint, it would suggest that Bitcoin could hit as high as $75,000 by the end of this October. And to be clear, I'm not claiming that it will do that. I'm just highlighting that if this October plays out according to the traditional 4-year cycle pattern, that's the price range we would be looking at if that pattern continues. We can also see that just in general, October through January, February-ish, is just an insanely strong set of months historically as well. In 2020, we can see the price went up starting in October all the way through January, a total of 147.5%. In 2016, starting in October during that winter time period, the market went up 50.9%, which looking at that, if the historical pattern holds, that could mean we could see a $90,000 to $100,000 Bitcoin by January of 2025, which would clearly be absolutely insane and a signal that we're likely looking at a typical 4-year cycle run in 2025. Now, one thing I think that a lot of people in the crypto markets completely miss when it comes to all this is they overly focus on Bitcoin and how the how much liquidity, global changes in liquidity is going to directly affect Bitcoin. And then they sort of just apply that to the whole rest of the market. When in reality, Bitcoin is $1 trillion asset, and a lot of these smaller alts are in the lower millions of dollars. So yeah, while we might need a ton of liquidity to really move the entire crypto market cap, because most of the crypto market cap is Bitcoin, we only really need a tiny amount of liquidity to pour into the crypto space to see some of these smaller alts go absolutely insane. Most people don't realize it, but between Bitcoin and ETH, they account for around 73% of the entire crypto market cap. So if you take all of crypto in existence, every single token, every meme coin, everything in existence today, 73% of all of that is just Bitcoin and ETH. The other 27% represents all the meme coins, all the altcoins combined. So again, really, really tiny today. And I think most aren't correctly accounting for just how insane things can get. There are a couple really powerful catalysts that are on the horizon that I believe have the potential to send prices much, much higher. And I'll be sharing exactly what those catalysts are, as well as some of the smaller altcoins that I'm jumping in to take advantage of what I see as a coming bull run in the crypto market space in just a second. But really quick, the Obsidian Council is my private research community where I share monthly research, my entire portfolio updated monthly with the exact allocation I bought, buy and sell alerts, and a ton more. Currently, the Obsidian Council is sold out and closed to new members. But if you want to join the waitlist, there's a link in the description of this video. So there are a few different catalysts coming that I think are likely to propel crypto prices higher. Some I've already talked about in depth in past videos, like the rate cuts and long-term catalysts like the ETF flows and demographics. And if you haven't seen those videos, they're worth diving into if you want to see just like a long-term picture of where I believe crypto is going and what's going to propel the crypto market higher over the long term. But there are some other catalysts that are starting to pop up that I haven't talked about that I think could propel crypto much, much higher from here. First off, let's talk about what's happening in China right now, because it's actually really interesting. China has been struggling after the real estate market had a massive collapse in late 2021. This caused the bankruptcy of Evergrande, one of the largest real estate giants in China. And currently, the wider real estate market in China is down over 80%. All of this caused a massive amount of deflation in China, which is, of course, the opposite of inflation. Deflation might sound like a good thing, and it absolutely is a good thing when it comes from the right sources or the right reasons. When you have deflation from various innovations in tech, etc., that is always a good thing. It makes the cost of everything a lot cheaper and everyone loves it. However, the reason that China is deflating is because everyone stops spending in China because they're worried about the economy. This means businesses in China are making less money, you have less growth, and you have more unemployment. And China recently took drastic measures to try to fix this situation. They cut reserve requirements by banks by 0.5%. They lowered mortgage rates. They injected $142 billion into the banking system, and they cut rates on reverse repos. These are all forms of stimulus in the Chinese economy. And China is the second biggest economy on the planet. Okay, so that's the situation going on in China. Let's dive into why this might be bullish for the wider crypto market. These stimulative moves are essentially flooding the Chinese economy with liquidity. Now, some of you guys might be aware that China actually has really strict regulations when it comes to investing in crypto, basically cutting off the ability for most people to invest in crypto. So you might be wondering, well, if they can't invest in crypto, how is this going to affect crypto prices? When a massive economy like China pumps stimulus into the system, it doesn't stay contained within their borders. It doesn't just affect China, but it actually pours over into the global economy and affects the global supply of liquidity. And as global liquidity increases, so does the appetite for riskier assets like crypto. So China's massive stimulus should have an impact on global liquidity and therefore on the crypto markets. And it's worth really emphasizing that as much as liquidity and like increases in liquidity affect things like the stock market, the crypto markets are much, much more so reflexive to changes in global liquidity. And the alts, or the smaller cryptos, which again only make up 27% of the total crypto market cap, are wildly reflexive to changes in global liquidity. And all of this comes at the same time that the European Union is cutting rates. The US is massively cutting rates. And just overall from things like this, global liquidity is ticking up. So currently I'm accumulating a few different alts to kind of play this rise in global liquidity in this coming bull market that I see happening in late 2024 into 2025. Keep in mind, this is just what I'm personally buying. This isn't investment advice, and obviously investing into crypto, or especially investing into smaller cryptos, can be insanely risky, and you should always account for the fact that you could lose 100% of your money. I talk about all the time that I expect 6 out of 10 of my investments to fail, 2 of them to do okay, 1 to do good, and hopefully 1 to do amazing. And that's because the upside potential on that 1 that could do amazing is so massive that I could literally lose on the other 9 and still make a fortune. This is a lot more similar to maybe how a VC would invest. The vast majority of startups that VCs invest into end up failing. And they actually make the majority of their money from just a tiny percentage of those investments they make that end up doing really, really well, like the Ubers and Facebooks of the world. But keep in mind, I know what I'm doing. And if you end up losing money because you don't know what you're doing, you're not really taking this seriously, that's something you're gonna have to own and accept as your own personal choice. First off, I'm accumulating more and more Winner, which I recently did a video on Winner. If you wanna go more in depth, this is one that I am personally insanely bullish on. It is super tiny today, but it has a lot of room to grow in my opinion. Winner is so tiny today, you're not actually able to buy it on various exchanges like Coinbase, etc. You actually have to go on chain to buy it. It's on the Arbitrum network, and you can buy it using CowSwap or Ravi Wallet's built-in swap. The second token that I'm accumulating for what I believe is the coming bull market is Cow. This one's pretty small as well, and I recently also did a full video on this, why I'm bullish on it, why I'm bullish on intent-based architecture and everything that Cow Protocol is building. Cow was actually recently listed on Coinbase and is now really easy to buy directly on Coinbase if that's something you're wanting to grab. Third up is Index. A couple months ago, I did a full video on Index and why I'm bullish on just in general crypto indexes. In my opinion, they make buying crypto a lot simpler, and I think products like this are inevitably going to be wildly popular within the crypto space. Index is another one that's really easy to buy. You can buy it directly on Coinbase as well. Fourth up is Researchcoin. This is a project that's co-founded by Brian Armstrong, the co-founder of Coinbase, one of the largest crypto exchanges on the planet. And yet today, this project is extremely tiny. And I as well recently did a video about Researchcoin going in depth. I actually interviewed one of the other co-founders of Researchcoin, going into detail about the project. I actually got a lot of FUD in the comments on that video. A lot of people saying that DeSci isn't a popular narrative, that the supply is too big, that the chart doesn't look good, etc. And I actually just wanted to quickly address some of these points. DeSci is not a popular narrative within the crypto space today. That is absolutely true. In general, before something is popular, it's not popular. You get in early buying before a narrative takes off, not after. Again, my personal investing style is a lot more similar to maybe how a VC would invest versus something like a momentum trader. VCs expect 90% of their investments to fail, and they make all their money on the ones that finally eventually achieve product market fit. And they invest in companies early before they ever have products or revenue or anything. And that's really similar to my approach with a lot of these smaller projects. In general, though, I don't even think that DeSci as a narrative has to catch on for Researchcoin to do really well. The narrative isn't necessarily DeSci as much as the narrative is that Brian Armstrong is the co-founder of this project. When liquidity finally starts pouring into all these alts and retail shows up, I think that's the narrative that people will spread around. And I think that's the narrative that people will cling to. But I would acknowledge that this does, at a bare minimum, require there to be some sort of alt season. If we don't see an alt season within the crypto market, this becomes a much riskier bet. The supply being too big comment is actually correct. There's a ton of supply for Researchcoin that's not yet distributed into the market. However, it's worth noting that this supply will hit the market over the next 10 years very, very slowly. And personally, when it comes to Researchcoin, I'm playing it for this cycle. Like my investment is for this cycle, and I plan on selling at some point in late 2025, which means I'm basically only concerned with the supply that's going to hit the market in the next year and a half, which in my opinion is totally manageable, and I'm not worried about it at all. This is why fully diluted value is important. Like you want to understand it, but you also need to understand how that supply eventually unlocks and enters the market. And finally, the chart comment is just kind of silly. The chart for almost every single project in crypto doesn't look good from basically March until today. We see pullbacks in crypto. That's pretty normal behavior, and that's not something I'm personally worried about at all. Researchcoin as well, you have to buy on chain. You can't buy it on an exchange today. And you can get Researchcoin on Ethereum using either CowSwap, or again, you can use Ravi's built-in swap. Again, it's a little bit harder to buy because you have to go on chain, and if you aren't familiar with that, that might be a little bit difficult. But typically, that's how you get tokens early. Most people, don't bother to go on chain, so they wait till it's on the exchange and buy it then. So learning how to actually buy these things on chain is actually a huge advantage over the rest of the market, especially when retail shows up. If you want to learn how to go on chain and buy, I have multiple videos covering this and just making it super easy. And I have tons of other projects that I'm also investing into. I'm also buying, I'm also holding in anticipation of what I believe is this next leg of the crypto market. Too many to cover in just this one video. As always though, again, none of this is guaranteed. Crypto is extremely risky. You can always lose money investing, and none of this is investment advice. Make sure to sign up for my free weekly crypto newsletter. It's mostly just all the content I put out each week in an easy email so you don't miss it. But occasionally I drop some other cool stuff in there, including I've dropped a few projects early in the newsletter that ended up doing insanely well. Also, if you really want to dive deep, make sure to check out my weekly podcast, the 1 to 1 Million podcast. I interview projects, talk about the markets, and interview various traders and experts in the crypto space. As always, if this video is helpful, make sure to hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, or maybe any other projects that you think I should be taking a look at, let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the little bell next to it to be notified each time I release a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.